Hi guys, hope you're doing good. In this video, we're going to learn about method overriding, abstract class and abstract method. All these three things comes under polymorphism, which is one of the four pillars of object-oriented programming. Now let us first see what is method overriding. When I say method overriding, a method which is overriding another method while it is getting called, right? So this can happen only when there is an inherited class. First, let me create a base class. Let me try to inherit this class inside a class called as derived. Let me try to have these functions here as well. I have an init method. Usually like every class will be having an init method that's like a constructor for us. And I have a del method that's like a distractor. Right, let me change the names here. Now here you can see a method called as fun, right? So this fun method, it's there in the derived class and as well as in the base class. Now which has the same signature, right? Which takes only one argument, that is self. The function name is fun. Here also the function name is fun. It also takes only one argument, that is self. Now here, when I have a function name which is same, or a function which is having a same name and same signature in both base and derived class, then happens the method overriding, right? So now here the method fun has in the derived class and the method fun in the base class having same signature and same name, right? So let me create an object first to make you understand what's happening here. I'll say derived, right? And let me say del obj, right? So when constructor must be called, or an init method must be called, like first it should call the base class constructor. That is the procedure that we need to follow, right? So whenever an object is created for the derived class, it directly go to the derived class init method, and from there I may need to call the base class init method, and then it comes. When I say derived, delete, so it deletes the derived class object first, and then it should delete the base class object next. That is the procedure, right? So let me say super dot del method, right? So this happens, this should happen, that we are making the procedure call for the constructor and the destructor, or else I can say init method and the del method, right? So let me save this code for you and try to run this. When I run this, you can see the base class constructor is called, that is the base class init method, and the derived class constructor, that is the derived class init method, is called derived class destructor or the delete method, base class destructor or the delete method. So this is the procedure that need to be followed whenever there is a inheritance, right? Constructor or the init method must be called from base to derived, and the destructor must be called from derived to base. Now when I have this function fun, and if I try to call this, I'll say obj dot fun. When I call this method fun, right? When I call this method fun, this will call the derived class method overriding the base class method, right? So in other programming language like C++, you can see that you have to give a virtual keyword for the method to be overridden properly, right? But here in Python, right, the function in the base class by default virtual, so you don't need to give the keyword virtual, right? So whenever a function call happens here, obj.fun, it directly calls the derived class method and not the base class method. This will never be called, right, unless and until you call it from here explicitly, right? Got it, guys? So this is called as method overriding, right? So this will be decided during the runtime based on the object that is created. If at all I create an object, let me say obj assign. After deleting it, let me try to create another object same with the same name, that is obj, and I say base. So when I do this and then say obj dot fun, now from here, this will call the base class method. Okay, without any problem, this will call the base class method. First, let me try to make you understand what happens when the function is called with the help of derived class object, right? Let me run this code for you. So you can see the base class constructor, derived class constructor, is everything okay. Fine. Now it is calling the derived class fun method. It is not calling the base class fun method. Rather, it is calling the derived class fun method and the other things in normal procedure, right? So let me try to uncomment this out and then clear the screen for you. Now let me run this code for you. So you can see base class constructor, derived class constructor, derived class fun method is called, and then the destructors are called in the same procedure. Now here, when I do this, when I create an object for the base class, it is creating the constructor that is calling the base class constructor, and base class fun method is called, and base class destructor or the delete method is called, right? So this is called as method overriding, right? Whenever a function is present in my derived class, which is already there in my base class, now the derived class method will override the base class method, right? Whenever the method is called with the help of the derived class object. You with me, guys? Okay, hope you understood this, right? Method overriding. Now let us see an example to understand the abstract class and abstract method. Okay, here I have an example of banking where you go to a bank and you want to create an account for you. There are two types of accounts. One is savings account, another one is current account, right? So I created a base class called as account, and I have two derived classes. One is savings account, another one is current account. Let me explain you what I am done here, right? So what are the basic things that is required to create an account? Like you will be having an account number, the name of the account holder, and the balance that is he is going to have, right? I'm going to have only these three basic attributes for my program now, right? Now here I have a balance. Basically, like whenever a person creates an account, he need to deposit a 5,000 as a balance, and then it's the then comes the account number that I'm generating it automatically, and then comes the name of a person. Now how I'm generating this account number automatically, that is what I'm going to explain you, right? I have a class attribute called as ACC where I've initialized to a starting number of a bank, right? Every bank will be given some basic number, so this is the starting number of that particular bank, and then from there it's going to get generated automatically whenever a person is getting creating an account for him, right? So for that, I inside the init method, I'm incrementing it every time a object is created. So once an object is created, I'm incrementing the class attribute ACC, and then I'm storing the incremented value into my account number, right? This is my account number. This ACC is not my account number. ACCNO, this is my account number. Okay, now this is just an auto generated number, right? Whenever a person is getting created, whenever an account is getting created for a person, I'm incrementing it and then storing it inside my account number. Okay, and then the name that I'm getting it, and deposit, whenever an amount is deposited, like that need to get incremented into my balance, right? And then savings account, here also I have an init method from where I'm calling the base class init method, and in for savings account, that is required that I need to maintain a minimum balance, right? So I have a minimum balance amount there, right? And then withdraw, right? If I want to withdraw any amount, I need to check whether it is perfectly greater than the minimum balance. If it is perfect, yeah, then I can proceed further. I can decrement the amount and then do it, right? Or else it will say like I cannot withdraw. And if it is like here also I have a init method for the current account class. Here I have something called as overdraft limit, that or the OD limit, right? The overdraft is given to every current account holder. Like whenever he opens an account, he may opt for an overdraft limit after a few years, right? Or if it's a very big corporate, he can say, he can show his the balance or the balance sheet, other things. I can get a overdraft limit that is given even though there is no amount in your savings in your current account balance. You can withdraw it from the overdraft limit based on some interest. Okay, now here also I'm going to withdraw on the same basis. When my balance amount is greater than the balance, then I'm trying to withdraw it. Okay, or else if it is not available, then I'm checking it with my overdraft limit, right? So if it is perfect, like I can get it from the overdraft limit. If the amount is less than the overdraft limit, I can withdraw it, or else like I cannot do it. So that is what I'm going to do. Now here withdraw is different from savings and current. The withdraw method, the functionality of the withdraw method is different. So I am not having it in my base class. I am having it separately in my derived classes. You're with me, guys? Okay. Now let me save this and then try to run this for you. First, I am going to deposit some amount for my withdraw for my savings account, and then try to withdraw, and then deposit and withdraw from my current account as well, right? Now here it is asking only for name because the account number and balance have initialized here, right? It's already initialized, so it doesn't ask for any input. Only for name I'm getting input. So it's asking only for the name, and then I'll do the deposit. One thing I forgot, I'm sorry, I forgot to get the information. So let me write a method called as account info and try to print all the details, because without printing, what is the use in that, right? So without printing, you doesn't know what's happening there. Let me say print. I'll say account number, and then say self dot account number, and then I'll try to print the account name, right? Account holder's name. I'll say self dot account holder's name, and then I'll try to print the balance which is available, right? I'll say self dot balance. That's it, right? Yeah, that's enough. And let me make some change here. Let me pull this out and then put it here. Now here I'll say deposit. After depositing, let me try to after depositing and withdrawing, let me try to call the account info method, right? And I also do the same thing here for current account. See, let me try to print here, print savings account, and I'll print current account here. So just to differentiate, right? Or else we doesn't know what's happening there. So let me clear the screen, save it and try to run it again. Now here it is asking for savings account. Let me give the name of the person and the amount to be deposited. Let me say 500, or let me deposit 1000 rupees, and let me try to withdraw 500. So it was 5000 before, and then I'm trying to withdraw. Okay, I'm going to deposit it. Okay, I've given 10,000, so it is 5,000 plus 10,000, 15,000. After that, I'm withdrawing 500, so it becomes 14,500. Now you can see the account number is generated automatically, right? Account number, name, and the current balance. Let me give the current account here. Let me say NSE is the current account name. Let me deposit some 3,000 rupees, and let me try to withdraw 500, and it says 7,500, right? It was 5,000, and then plus 3,000 becomes 8,000, and then withdrawing 500 gives you 7,500. Now you can see the account number is auto generated. It is like before it was 00001, now it is 00002. Now account number is auto generated, and the account name you are given, balance, and you're withdrawing, right? Now here the withdraw method is separate for both the functions. Here I have a separate withdraw method, here I have a separate withdraw method, right? Separate functionality for both. Now if at all I forget to define the withdraw method here, if I forget to withdraw the define the withdraw method here, will there be any error? There will not be any error, and also like I can avoid this, right? I can avoid, right? But like there is something must, right? The program still works, right? Without any problem, the program still works, right? It still works. It means that I'm not giving a withdraw provision to my savings account holder, but it is wrong, right? I have to allow my what customer to withdraw the amount. It is must for a person whoever deposits, he need to withdraw it, right? But like I can avoid this. But if I want that not to happen, what should I do? If I want my any of my function to be must in my derived classes, right? If I want any function that is important, right? Here withdraw must function is must and it is important. I cannot avoid it, right? So in that case, I'll be creating a withdraw method in my derived class as an abstract method, right? So when I create any abstract method in the base class, that method must be defined in my derived classes. It is must. Now how will I create an abstract method? For that I may need to import, right? So I'll say from ABC is a module. I'll say import ABC, and then I'll also import abstract method. Okay, now here let me create an abstract method with the help of decorator. Abstract method, I'll say def, which function is must for me? Withdraw function, right? So let me say withdraw, and here I can do nothing, right? It is just a abstract class that I don't have to do anything. I don't have to define anything in that. I just give a pass, right? And one more thing, I may need to inherit the abstract method here, ABC, right? Now this class, right? This class becomes an abstract class. this class becomes an abstract class, and withdraw method becomes an abstract method. Now I'll tell you what is the use of this abstract method and abstract class. When I create an abstract class accounts, right, I cannot create an object for account, right? I can create object for savings account, but I cannot create, for example, if I say a account, right? So this is not possible. Right? This is not possible because I cannot create an object for my abstract class, and it is also meaningful that I cannot create any account. I can either create a savings account or I can create a current account. There is nothing called as account. So I have to restrict creating an object for my account class. I make it as an abstract class, so that when I make it as an abstract class, I cannot create any object for the abstract class. It stops me in doing that, right? So now it will throw me an error. You can say it's throwing an error, right? Abstract class with abstract method initiated, I cannot create it, right? Let me save and run for you. Now it is throwing an error, right? Can't instantiate abstract class, right? I cannot instantiate an abstract class. It means that I cannot create any object for my abstract class. It is not possible at all, right? And one more thing, if I create an abstract method, now here I've created an abstract method, right? Withdraw. And if I miss this out, right? If at all I'm not defining my abstract class at all, right? Now let me save this and run it for you. Now I have not created a method of in the derived class. Savings account doesn't have withdraw method. Now when I run this code, it again throws me an error. Can't instantiate abstract class savings account. Now it is not allowing you to create an object itself, right? It is throwing an error here. It is throwing an error because the abstract method withdraw is not defined, right? So if it is defined, then the error will be taken back. Let me run this again. Now here it is working perfect. Before it was throwing error because I had an abstract method. If I don't define my abstract method in all my derived classes, right? When I have an abstract method in my base class, that must be defined like this in all my derived classes. If it is not defined, it'll throw me error. You got it, guys? Fine. So it is asking for savings account name, and it's asking me to deposit, withdraw, right? And then current account. Let me deposit, withdraw again. So it's giving me the proper input and output. Now here you can see your balance is a public member, right? It is not a private variable. If at all I want to make it as private, what will happen? If I make this variable as private, unfortunately these variables cannot be used here because that's a private variable, right? Private variable cannot be used anywhere, not even in the inherited class. Then how will I tackle this, right? I want to tackle this, right? I want to tackle this problem. When I run this code, you will be getting error, right? So let me say 1 minute. Right. So when I run this code, and you can see, like, let me give something here and say deposit, it will throw me error because balance is not an attribute, right? Balance is not an attribute at all. It is not known here because it is a private variable. Now how will I tackle this problem? So to tackle this problem, I have something called as getter and setter method, right? Guys, if at all you don't know what is getter and setter method, I have a different video which is done on getter and setter method. You please go and watch it. I've given the link in the description. Then you come back so that you can understand it. Okay. So let me create a getter method called as property. I'll say property, and then I'll say def, because I want to use the same variable name, right? So what is the variable name I've used here? Balance, right? So let me say balance here, and then I'll say self. Here I'll say return self dot, I'll get the balance variable here, right? Now I can, this is a getter method. Now if I want to create a setter method, I'll say balance dot setter, and then I'll say def balance self comma amt. Now this helps you to consider the variable method as a variable itself in other functions, because my method is always I'm using it as a public only. It is not a private method, right? So I'll say self dot balance assign the amount. Now here there will not be any problem at all. Your problem will be solved. So whatever I use here, I can whatever I use here, that can be accessed directly. You with me, guys? Where is that? When I say balance, it is actually, it will call the method here, right? It will call the getter method. So wherever I'm using the variable name balance, it is actually calling the getter method and return the balance, right? So if you want to have a clear understanding about the property decorator and the getter and the setter method, please go and watch the video. I've given the link in the description. Okay, so now let me save it and then try to run this code again for you. So it's asking for savings account name. Let me deposit, let me withdraw, right? And then I'll give the current account name, let me deposit, and then try to withdraw. Everything is working perfect. Got it, guys? Hope you understood this about the abstract class and abstract method. Wherever there's an abstract class, you cannot create an object for the or instance for the abstract class, and wherever there is an abstract method, and that must be defined in all your derived classes. If you don't define it, you will be getting an error. So whenever you feel that some method is must and it must be defined in all your derived classes, make sure that you are making the base class method as abstract method to solve all the problem. Got it, guys? Okay, guys, if you have any doubts or queries, please comment in the comment section. I'll definitely get back to you. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and do subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much.